Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with a Coach. Today, we have a question from Elvis. Elvis Garcia. Elvis Garcia says, "Hey, can anyone give me advice?" Yes, I can, my friend. I'm holding on to hate and anger towards my former bullies. I can relate to that. Ooh, and how. And every loss I've had, I keep training to be stronger and a better fighter than them, but I feel like there's a mental wall in my mind, and I won't get any better until I find peace. Part of me wants to confront them and give them a beating, but they are not worth going to jail for. Before I got old enough to go to high school reunions, since I've been to several, I talked to my friend Bob about a high school reunion he went to. And my friend Bob is a practitioner of martial arts. He does Kempo or Kenpo. I always get those two confused. And Bob invested a lot of time and a lot of effort and energy into mastering Kenpo, learning how to fight. And he's a prison guard. And he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. He uses his martial arts to restrain violent psychopaths. It's something that happens, right? So Bob he's become a tough and intimidating guy. And he told me this story about his high school reunion. He got bullied when he was younger, when he was in high school, and he remembered these guys. And he told me about how sometimes when he trained, he would think about the bullies like, I'm gonna train to be tough and I'll show them. And when he was going back to his high school reunion, he had these thoughts like, oh man, now I know how to fight. I know how to handle myself. I'm a big intimidating guy now. I could do this to them. I could do that to them. I could show these guys what's what now. But then Bob gets to his high school reunion, and he looks at these guys who used to bully him. And he sees how far they got in life. And they were just kind of sad people living sad lives. And Bob's dreams and ideas of picking on his high school bullies who used to pick on him kind of disappeared, because he said, at that moment I realized life had picked on them enough. And that changed my perspective a little, because I was also bullied a lot. People used to beat me up and spit on me and throw me around and do horrible things to me. Physically assault me on the regular every time I went to school. I'm not talking about the cyberbullying today. Oh man, what I would have given for people to just say mean things to me back then. No, they attempted to murder me sometimes. But I took those words to heart. Life has picked on them enough. And so I started thinking about my bullies. And I remember when I got to my high school reunion, the first one I went to, my bullies weren't there. And I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine from high school who became a prison guard. And he told me a story about some of these folks who had gone to high school with us that he was guarding in the prison. And I thought, oh man. So it's interesting that you said they're not worth going to jail for. Because that's the first thing that came to mind. That some of these guys who were mean in high school actually ended up in jail themselves. And that made me sad. It didn't make me feel vindicated, like justice is served. What goes around comes around. No, man. At that point, it made me sad. It made me think like, that sucks. Man, that sucks. Movies train us to expect happy endings. My youngest daughter this concept has clicked for her. Because she gets very emotionally invested in movies. And so when we watch movies together, at least before recently, when the hero is in trouble, she would cry. And she would say, "Can you fast forward through this part? Is there a happy part after this? I don't want to see this sad part." But she's seen enough movies and become familiar with the tropes where the good guys always win. And we were watching a movie today, and the sad part happens. But my daughter, she pats my shoulder and says, "Daddy, the good guys are going to win. I know it." And she wasn't crying anymore. She was hopeful and happy because of this idea the good guys win in the end. The good guys come out on top. And often it's wishful thinking. But to me, the happiest ending is not the good guys beating up the bad guys. It's when the bad guys have a change of heart. It's when the bad guys are redeemed. If you will. So man, that made me sad. And it made me think, man, is there anything I could have done differently? Besides, think like, man, I hate these guys so much. I just wish I could beat them up. I'm going to learn kung fu and karate and taekwondo so I can kick them in the head one day. Because that was my reason for starting martial arts, to learn to fight back against the bullies who used to pick on me and beat me up. And when I saw that life had picked on them, life had put them in a literal prison, that's not the justice that I wanted as an adult. Maybe as a child I would have thought, good, they deserve it. But now, I wanted redemption for these guys. Don't we all want the bullies to see the error of their ways? And to change? And to say, I am sorry. I feel bad for what I did to you. What can I do to make it right? Wouldn't that be better than just punching them in the face? So what does that do? You punch them in the face and they want to punch you back. You kick them in the head and they want to retaliate. You beat them up, you embarrass them in front of the whole school. What do they want to do? They want to get you back. Maybe they'll fear you a little bit more. But they won't respect you. I think it was toward the end of 7th grade. There was this kid at school who used to pick on me all the time. We never got into an actual fight, but I ended up fighting a lot of his friends, because his friends, man, they would fight his battles for him. And I got beat up a lot. But he would pick on me and his henchmen would beat me up. And I thought, oh man, if I could just beat him up, make him see how it feels, deal out some street justice to this guy, then I would be happy. And I had a dream, a very vivid dream, that there's the bully standing in front of me. And I think to myself, now is my chance, I'm going to beat him up. So in my dream, I start beating up the bully. And in my dream, I'm stronger than him, I'm faster than him, I'm better than him. And I beat him up, I beat him so badly, I knock him down on the ground, and I keep hitting him, and I keep hitting him. And this goes on for some time in my dream, and I just keep hitting him until he is a bleeding mess. And he's dead. And I just keep hitting him, and I'm just wild. I'm this animal in my dream. I'm like, I'm going to tear you to pieces, and I do. And then I wake up from this dream, and I think, what just happened? That guy in that dream is not the guy I want to be. If we entertain a fantasy like that, okay, that's one thing. Oh, I want to kill you. We often say that in casual speech when we're angry. Does that mean we're going to go out and murder that guy? No. If you sit down and cool off and think about it rationally, think about what you really want. Is it death and destruction and blood and gore? Or is it for the bad guys to see the error of their ways? These punches to the face don't accomplish that. That might sound strange coming from a combat sports coach, but man, combat sports are a radically different thing than a street fight. A fight for justice, street justice, if you will. It's a radically different thing. Not because one is more brutal than the other, but because of the reasons that they are done. One is done over stupid hurt feelings. And one is done because it's your job. One is done because you hate the other person. And one is done because you love the sport. One is done with ill will. The other one is done with good sportsmanship. Polar opposites in virtually every way. Don't do these things for the streets, my friend. I get it, though, that compulsion to keep training, to keep going, to keep pushing yourself. Compared to where I was 10 years ago, oh man, I have come such a long way as a martial artist. Every year I make it a goal to answer this question. If I could time travel back to last year and fight myself from last year, I need to be in a position where me, the older me, would win that fight. And I can honestly say, yes, if I could time travel to last year, I could beat that guy. If I could time travel to the year before that, I would beat that guy. If I time traveled 10 years in the past, I would kill that guy any way I wanted. 20 years ago, boom, no problem. 30 years ago, I would be fighting a child, so that wouldn't be fair. 40 years ago, it's wrong to murder babies. So, let's not go there. But what compels me to do this? You know, a lot of it is that same fear, those same negative emotions, those same memories of bullies, reflected and echoed in the angry comments on YouTube that I sometimes read from people who are trying to get a rise out of me, who say, you suck. And part of me is like, I'm going to show you how much I suck by getting out there and training and being better than I ever was. So thank you to the haters for pushing me to be better and better every single day. It's amazing. And thanks to my bullies in high school for giving me that push to start learning martial arts, to get in the door, which is the hardest part. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train.